What's good, YouTube? Make America Lit here, back with another NBA 2K24 video. And in today's video, I have another episode of Rare Builds for you guys. Now, in today's episode, we are going to be creating a two-way inside-out threat. So with that being said, let's jump into the build. Now, before I get into the build, I'm going to just preface this video by saying that this is exactly going to be the build that I'm running with. This is going to be, I think, my fourth build, and it's going to be the lock build that I run with. This is going to be a lock build that I specifically designed for myself. Now, do keep in mind that there are going to be some weaknesses on this build, and I'm going to talk about that when we get into the attributes and the badges and stuff. But it isn't perfect, but this is going to be what works for me. Maybe it works for you, maybe it won't, but if you guys want the name two-way inside out threat, here you have it. So first off, I'm going with a 6'7" height, 233 pounds with a 6'11" wingspan. Now you could tweak the height, the weight, and the wingspan to however you like. Same thing with the position. This is just what I went with for me. Now, jumping into the build, you'll see that we have a 67 close shot and 87 drive and layup, and that's really the only thing that we have for finishing. And the reason why I went with the 87 layup, I tried to get that 91, but if I can't get 91, I try to go 87 or 80. 87, you see the badges that we're going to have. The only real badge that I'm going to be missing out on, with this badge is going to be gold slithery. I won't have that gold slithery, and I won't have that Hall of Fame float game. But outside of that, I pretty much have all of the badges that I would normally have with a 91 layup. You see that Hall of Fame two-step, spin cycle, scooper, pro touch, gold bunny, acrobat. All of those badges are pretty much what I normally run with on builds that I have a 91 layup on. The only thing I'm really going to be missing, like I said, is slithery and that Hall of Fame float game, which is going to impact me too much. I'm still going to be able to finish pretty well at the rim. And that's the main reason why I went with the 87 layup, because you're not going to just be able to just spot up all the time. Dudes are going to chase you off the three-point line. You want to be able to be, multi-dimensional and be able to finish at every level. So I went with that 87 layup. Mid-range 72, just so I could get that 72 threshold for that silver midi magician. And then we're also going to be running with an 85 three ball, which is just enough to get, silver blinders, dead eye, gold catch and shoot, and more importantly, that bronze limitless range, as well as that bronze agent 3. Our badge is going to be bronze, so we don't have to worry about grinding them or using a floor setter or anything like that for these badges. When we do spot up deep or when we shoot off the dribble, we'll always have those badges that we need. Gold corner specialist, silver green machine, again, those badges that's going to help with spotting up, spacing the floor. Went with an 88 free throw because, like I said in previous videos, the longer I play this game and the more builds that I make, I'm starting to notice that I'm going higher and higher on the free throw, because you really do see a difference. If you throw a 70 free throw on a build and then you throw an 80 and then throw a 90, I promise you will see a significant difference in your make percentages. So the higher the free throw, the better. And because free throw, just like stamina, is so cheap, I try to get that free throw as high as I can. I don't just try to keep it at 60 or 50. Now, if you are strictly a park player, you don't have to worry about that. You can forego the free throw and just put that on something else. But if you do stumble into the wreck here and there, you want to just try to reach for that 80 threshold at least nowadays for free throws, so you can knock down your free throws. And keep in mind, the higher your free throw is, the more likely you are to shoot that technical free throw, which again is just free points to add to your point total. Anytime there's a defensive three or a trans take foul, you want to be the one shooting those free throws, because again, that's free points. Not just free points, but also points towards your getting your takeover and stuff. So you want those free points. Moving on to playmaking, 70 pass accuracy, absolute minimum that I want to go. As far as a guard or wing build, I wouldn't go any lower than this. Really try to shoot for 73, but if you can't get to 73, 70 is the absolute bare minimum that you should be going. Unless you're a center, then you can go probably like a 60 or 65, but really, you don't really want to go any lower than 70. Otherwise, your passes will be slow and floaty, and people will be picking that shit out of the air. 70 gets us bronze dimer, relay passer, special delivery, and break starter. And the one thing I do like about having the 70 pass accuracy is that you can just throw this on and forget about it. You don't even have to worry about, oh, my dimer being silver, it should go gold or Hall of Fame, and do I have silver or gold relay passer and touch passer and all of that stuff. Your badges are bronze. You slap them on your attribute, and you just forget about them. You can pass, and that's just what I went with. I don't plan to be running point. I don't plan to run the offense. I'm a lock build. I'm here to play defense and spot up. But you do want to be able to pass when you don't have the shot or you're not open or somebody closes out on you. So again, 70 pass accuracy, 85 ball handle, because again, most locks I know don't really have ball handle like that. So they're constantly getting ripped. Dudes are spamming them and you don't want to be in that position. So I went with an 85 ball handle. Now you can probably go a little bit lower, maybe an 80, and then save those points and put it elsewhere. But I went with an 85 because, like I said, I don't want to just be a liability where dudes are just ripping me left and right. And I also want to be able to put the ball on the floor when I'm using that 87 layup to get to the rim. You see I'm going to have silver blow by, handles for days, killer combos, speed booster, unpluckable, and even gold ankle breaker. Now, I'm not saying that as a lock you should be ISOing and stuff, but gold ankle breaker will help free you up. We also going to have Hall of Fame physical handles, which means that we'll be a lot harder to stop when driving to the basket when dudes try to crowd us and stuff. Also, that 80 speed with ball, that's going to help us with getting that blow by, that speed booster, and of course that silver hyperdrive. Now, moving on to the defense, and this is going to be the key part of the build. 56 interior defense isn't going to make too much of a difference, but it is going to help with making dudes miss down low. You see, we also have that 60 defensive rebound, so we can board something here and there. Obviously, we're not going to be the main rebounder on the team, but any little bit helps, especially in a wreck. You want to be able to help your center and your power forward board up. You might get put at power forward, so I also like to keep that 60 defensive rebound at a bare minimum, because at a small forward, you will get slotted in at the 4 here and there. You're not going to always have a power forward on your build, on your team, excuse me. So you want to have some type of rebounding on your build, and you want to have rebound chaser on at least bronze so that you can't help your center with boxing out and boarding up. Now, moving back up, you'll see on this build, we are rocking a 93 perimeter defense, which is going to give us a bevy of badges. All of our badges are going to be a minimum of gold. You see the gold clamps, you see the gold ankle braces, Challenger 94 feet, fast feet, all of those things. Like, you want to have that high perimeter defense. Now, you can go a little bit higher. I think 94 gets you Hall of Fame Challenger, which would have been nice. Don't get me wrong. But 93... as a lock, this is going to go a very long way. And then you also see that 91 steals, netting us gold stealing badges, gold glove, interceptor, and right stick ripper. Now, if you're like me and you primarily reach with that right stick, that 91 steal is going to make life miserable for your matchup, you know, if you reach with that right stick. And I do implore you guys who are lockdowns, you guys with 85 or higher steal, or even a lower steal, to learn how to reach with the right stick. That spamming square will work here and there, but a lot of times you're going to get a foul. If you learn how to program yourself to reach with that right stick, it goes a long way. Now, finally, we're going to move on to the physicals, and you'll see that we'll have an 85 speed, 77 acceleration, but the main selling point of this build is going to be that 96 strength. And that 96 strength is going to be crazy, because you see the things that is going to net us, the high levels of badges that 96 strength is going to let us reach. That gold clamps, that gold fearless finisher, which goes a long way. Hall of Fame bulldozer, Hall of Fame physical handles. These two badges going together is just going to make your matchup a nightmare, especially if you get somebody that's undersized, that don't have strength. You're just going to absolutely walk through them. When I say walk through them, I mean literally walk through them. Bronze box out beast, gold brick wall, and Hall of Fame immovable enforcer. So even though we don't have crazy high interior defense, that Hall of Fame immovable enforcer will make a difference when it comes to making layups and dunks and stuff a lot harder to get on you, in the perimeter, in the paint. Vertical is 59, which again, we don't have drive and dunk. We don't have block on this build. And so we don't really need vertical too much. It's going to help us a little bit with that defensive rebound. But again, we're not the primary rebounder on this team, so it's not going to matter too much. And then, of course, you see that 99 stamina, which is going to help get us gold workhorse, Hall of Fame 94 feet, and silver handles for days. Now, earlier in the video, I talked about the one weakness for this build. And in my opinion, the only real weakness for this build is the block rating. As I scroll up, you see that this build doesn't have any block. And that's mostly because I key in on playing really good perimeter defense. I feel like because I play rec, there's usually always somebody in the paint. And if I do get beat on the perimeter, somebody will usually come over and help. So I don't really care too much about block. I only really put block on my center and power forward builds. Anything else that's not a big man type build, I don't really consider putting block, or don't really care too much about putting block on the build. Now that's just me. Now that is the only major thing about this build as far as weaknesses go, is the interior defense. You're not going to have any block on this build. Now if you feel differently, you can, you know, adjust the build, tweak it to how you like to put block on there and whatnot, so you can block some stuff. But this is what I'm going with for my build. I don't really care too much about block. I care more about making life miserable for dudes on the perimeter. And I know you can do both. I know that I can, you know, take my ball handle and speed with ball down and put that into block, so I can, you know, get blocks and stuff. But that's not too much what I'm concerned about. But I did want to let you guys know that this build doesn't have any block. And I did mention that there's going to be a weakness or two on this build. And that's really the only weakness that this build has. There's no block. Maybe if you consider dunking a strength, then okay, you could say that it has no dunking on it as a weakness too. But we all know how good layups are in this game, so I don't really consider that a weakness. The only real weakness this build has is that it doesn't have any block or interior defense. Now, I know for some people, that really is the difference between being a lock and just being a regular build. But to me, it's really not. I don't really mind it too much. But of course, when we create our build, you'll see these shades of, which is going to be Wally Zerbiak, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Chris Middleton. And of course, you'll see that we have built a two-way inside-out threat. So this is my personal two-way inside-out threat for NBA 2K24. It's been your boy, Make America Lit. Please be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe for more NBA 2K24 content. And of course, more rare builds like this. I'm out, y'all. Peace.